gotta come back with me. Where?
Hello there. Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous mate shall I send it to today?
Once again, it's time for Throwback Thursday, a second chance to look at some truly awful podcasts. No, wait, a second chance to see how far Vicis Interimo has come over the last 8 years. New episodes will be released pretty much weekly, but Thursdays I've reserved for throwbacks to see how far we've come. A lot of the information on here no longer applies, whether that be businesses or links that may not work anymore, so be advised of that. But again, I want to thank the patrons that we have at this time, though they may not have been here the first time these episodes were recorded. I am thanking them again because they're helping us move forward with our new episodes. And those are patrons such as At Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy what you hear.
I had it set to automatically adjust, but I'm scared to... Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, gosh. How did you know? You maybe weren't.
But I am. I know where I am. Wherever you go, there you are.
All right.
Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
Okay. Does that mean you're ready to go?
I guess so.
All right.
Because if something else happens, I'm out of here.
All right. Well, let's... I'm going to adjust this down a little bit and bring this one down.
You shouldn't do anything.
All right.
Don't touch anything.
I won't touch anything. So you're ready for episode 108?
Sure, why not?
Right.
I was ready an hour ago. Not feeling it now, but...
Welcome to Vicis Interimo, 30 Minutes to Kill. Oh, geez, I choked on that too.
You almost said 30 seconds, didn't you?
I did. That's about how much longer I'm going to give this before I want to put my fist through both of our computers.
Do mine first.
All right. Welcome to Vicis Interimo, Time to Kill. I am your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, with my lovely wife, Tommy Shiki. How are you doing? We're going to use your ninja name today, right?
Sure.
Yeah. You can't even pronounce my ninja name, can you?
I'm thrown off. I don't know. I don't know. Which one did you like?
Of course, the one with Michael. Or Mike.
Oh.
Well, it flowed easier, I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Stacy was really long.
Yeah.
But Mike is Rinki Miku.
Yeah, I think that works.
All right.
You could be Tomoshiki.
Yes.
All right. Well, anyhow, let's get on with the mat. We've been spending too much time. Yeah.
People are now tuning out. People are hitting the stop button.
Came back for this. All right.
Back to Facebook.
Well, here's the movie that we're going to be talking about. Uh-oh. All this pronouncing our ninja names, and now I'm going to choke on this one. Marebito?
Sure.
Okay. It's, it's a film, and, do you have your synopsis ready to go?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that film. We're going to talk about a couple, others that we watched, and, a TV show, that we managed to catch this week.
Did you look up to see what Marebito means?
You know, I actually did.
You're awesome.
I know.
Okay, here we go. This is a Japanese film from 2004. It's rated R and it's 92 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, I guess I'll put in a musical interlude, and then we'll
Okay.
Continue on with the podcast. What's going on over there?
I don't know. I was ready to read the synopsis, being like, yes, I'll put in a musical interlude.
Oh, okay.
You're going to put it in before I give the synopsis?
Yeah, well, let's give people a chance to tune out and stuff. They can come back for that after
Why'd
this.
you let me give the title and the year and the rating and all of that garbage?
I don't know. Oh, we're losing it here. All right.
I'm not. You are.
Okay, so I actually did look up what Marebito was, and I'm even more confused. So,
A terrible Japanese accent.
you know, being Argentinian and German, yeah, I would expect to have a very terrible Japanese accent.
Okay.
Anyhow.
So what does it mean?
Well, let's see what the synopsis is first.
What the heck? All right. Masuoka, a fragile cameraman who's afraid of the unknown, that he's certain lurks around every corner, is the last person one would expect to rise to the occasion when courage is needed. But that he does. Oh my gosh. But that he does when he winds up with an assignment that has him looking into an urban myth about specters that supposedly haunt Tokyo's subterranean travel system in this fantastical film directed by Takashi Shimizu, who also did Ju-on and The Grudge.
All right.
That was a challenge.
It really was.
Started with our ninja names, and this. I apologize to all Japanese people everywhere.
Well, here's the thing.
What does it mean?
Oh, what does it mean? Okay, well, it's not going to help because that isn't a description of the movie that we saw, I don't think. Anyhow, Marebito is an ancient Japanese word to refer to divine being who comes from afar bringing gifts of wisdom, spiritual knowledge, and happiness.
Okay. Wow.
I get it, but I don't get it when applied to this movie. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. What I like the director.
Yes.
I want to say that, right off the bat. I like the director. We listened to his commentary afterwards, and I really, like you pointed out, I feel like Bill Murray in Lost in Translation because I know we weren't getting a correct or a complete translation because it was what do you say? It was a French interview? Sounded like a French crew interviewing him, and then it was then subtitled in English. So
yeah.
I have a feeling we missed quite a bit. But
Well, and I even felt when we were watching the movie, the subtitles sometimes
we're lacking.
I was not buying it that's exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, on the topic and everything close, but yeah, sometimes we'll watch movies that have English subtitles for whatever reason, and the actors will be talking and the subtitle will go by and it'll be like, hey, that's not what you just said.
Yeah.
It's like, why did they do that?
Yeah. Well,
but I think that was happening a lot in this movie, and it's unfortunate because I think we missed a lot of the
subtle nuances.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because it came off as, I mean, it was a very strange story and fantastical, as it said.
See, I disagree with that, but we'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay. Well, we don't agree on what fantastical means. I think that's our problem.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah. When I hear fantastical, I think light, And I don't know why. I mean, because fantastic can be, whatever. It could be light, heavy. But yeah, somehow when that came through in the synopsis, I thought it was going to be a more whimsical follicle. Wow. I think that was going to be frolicking.
Do I need to buy you a dictionary?
You might need to buy me a new tongue because I can't seem to use this one right now. Anyhow.
Okay. I have something for you. Here's the definition of fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Or fantastical. Conceived or appearing as if conceived by an unrestrained imagination. Odd and remarkable. Bizarre. Grotesque.
Well, all right. Yeah, you summed up this movie.
Yes. Imaginary or groundless and not being based on reality. Foolish or irrational. Okay. Here's your fanciful and marvelous, but also bizarre and grotesque. So anything unrestrained, imagination, odd, remarkable, yes.
Okay, well, so this movie definitely goes in all those directions. First of all, what did you think of the movie? Just a general opinion of what you thought.
Well, my general... Sorry.
Okay.
Well, I want to say, generally, the whole thing, in a very basic, general way, it had me going, it had me interested, and I was paying attention, and I don't know if I can say it entertained me for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that might be too strong of a word.
Okay.
But it had me going, and I was interested, and it had me hooked, and I was waiting to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I have other problems with it, but...
Okay, if I could interject, I liked it while it was playing out, but
okay.
For me, I always try to race ahead in the story in my mind at least, and, think, oh, what's happening, what's coming. And this movie had that type of potential.
Right.
And I don't want to give any spoilers here, but you kind of, if you're paying attention, you can kind of figure out where the movie is going,
right.
I think. And
you mean as far as the basic storyline?
As far as the basic storyline, right.
Okay.
And then, I don't want to say I was let down per se, but...
You can say that.
Okay, I wanted a bigger explanation.
Yes.
I wanted more, and it's just, I guess that's nobody's fault, and I didn't get it.
Right.
And so I would have a hard time. So that makes it hard pressed for me to say this is a good movie or a bad movie, because right up to the last 20 minutes, it was great. Oh, and I won't say great. It was good and kept me entertained, but then it missed the mark a little bit towards the end, and it didn't. I mean, everything was there and everything played out. There were no cheats. There were not exactly. For
me, the ending absolutely missed the mark.
Okay.
Because there wasn't really any kind of big reveal. If we can back up a little bit, and I don't think it's a spoiler, right off the bat, you meet the main character. It calls him a fragile cameraman.
And I didn't feel that from the beginning.
Well, he comes on, his outward, I think his public persona is that of a fragile, kind of quiet, mellow person. Mm. But right away it shows you in his home, and he's obsessed with images of terror. Mm-hmm. Dark, scary, he's obsessed with it. He's got all these screens. He's always got his camera with him. Anytime he's out of the house, he's carrying his camera, and he's just looking for opportunities to film weird stuff.
Mm.
I'd written down a couple things that he said, and I'm having trouble finding it. But he said that he was a collector of strange images.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that these things were strange and already defined as being strange, they weren't good enough for him.
Okay, yeah, I like that, and that was interesting, where it started with that, and when he was saying that.
Right. So he's looking for, the ultimate terror. he had a lot of images of people who looked scared and terrified, but he felt like it wasn't really genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got to where he himself wanted to feel the terror himself, not just capture the image of it and see it on somebody else, but he himself wanted to feel terrified. So that, I was like, uh-oh. And then we see him go off his meds. And that's not giving anything away because it's right almost in the opening scene.
And you know that can't be good.
Yeah, he throws his Prozac in the garbage, and he said that was so he could focus.
Right. I don't think that's really how that works.
Not really.
Now, I was going to look up Prozac and see what the side effects were and so on, but so he, like you said, he wants to find, he actually he captures on film a very gruesome scene, and he becomes intrigued by it and continues on basically from there. Now, I want to interject, I don't know, call this an editorial or whatever. Really?
Don't you want to give a little more right there, though? Because that's kind of vague.
Well, I want to get back to that, but I want to say one of the things that he sees in the movie, or one of the things you see in the movie at the very beginning that bothered me, is there's a purported snuff clip. Now, it's something that he's watching, like you said, he's got lots of grotesque images,
right.
And that always bothers me in a film.
Okay.
I don't, which maybe seems weird for doing a horror podcast and you see people killed and slaughtered and whatever and stuff like that. But the idea of a film specifically being made as a snuff film, like that bothers me. That just, I don't know. I don't know if other people feel like that. So I feel like I need to mention that just because that could be disturbing. And I don't know why. Just somehow, just saying that this is supposed to be a snuff clip,
yeah,
bothers me. And I guess maybe that means I'm normal or whatever, because I hate to see, because when you watch a movie, you see all these things and stuff, but it's always in the back of your head. This is a movie. These people are pretending. And even if it's, this person's hacking up this or whatever it is,
right.
It's like, that's always there. But saying...
I say, okay, it's just latex and...
Right. And so somehow that makes it okay. But
yeah, everyone goes home happy at the end of the day, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And so to see... that's why I never was into the faces of death and those type of things, just because for me, I don't know, too much empathy or whatever the case may be. Not too much, but, I don't like it.
Too much.
So in this case, there is that scene, and even though they don't show that kill exactly, the person kind of steps in front of it, but they talk about it a little bit, and that was a little disturbing to me. So.
Okay.
I don't know. That was editorial. I don't know what that was, but anyhow.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was a little surprised because when the character's introduced and he does come off as kind of a soft person, I was surprised that he was sitting in his home watching that stuff and seeking it out. That's when I was like, uh-oh, okay, there's going to be that's where the trouble's going to come in. Because he has an appetite for the real thing, terror.
Well, wanting to push that limit to be...
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we see him, the scene you were talking about, where he finally captures an image on film himself that he feels is genuine terror, and he gets totally obsessed with it. He's sort of he described himself as being unemployed, but I think he's kind of like a freelance cameraman, like wherever he can get a gig, he'll take it.
Right.
And it seemed like there was something going on down in the, like it said, the underground transportation system. I don't know what was going on exactly down there because, again, lost in translation, I think. The subtitles were very poor in this part of the movie. It was like news clips and stuff. But he was down there filming a man who was freaking out, and he commits suicide while everybody's gathering around him and trying to get him to stop, and they're trying to calm him down. He jams a knife into his eyeball.
Youch.
And it's pretty graphic.
Yes.
And so he captures that on film.
And now, why am I laughing at that? I shouldn't be laughing, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Because, well, we see the guy again later.
Right.
Okay, but we won't talk about that. We see him later as a ghost, maybe?
Maybe.
So, yes, that he goes home and he watches it over and over. Unfortunately, we too have to watch it over and over.
He stopped short of watching it a couple of times, and that was, I thought, was something that I enjoyed about the director, because you built up that anticipation of like, oh my God, I don't want to see this again. And he stops just short of it, but like you got that queasy feeling of like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see him for the 50th time stick that in there.
Well, and he keeps watching it over and over and over, and he's stopping just before the knife hits the eyeball, because once the knife hits the eyeball, that look of terror is gone, because the man is then gone. He's bleeding and he's going to die. Yeah. But what he's interested in is the looks on the man's face just before he does it. Mm-hmm. So that draws him into that same place, the underground. It's not, you never see people down there or subways or, I don't know what's going on.
You never do really see that. And I think
it looks deserted, sort of that area of the tubes. It looks deserted to me.
Yeah.
But so he goes down there to see, he thinks the man saw something down there. So he's like, I'm going to go down there also. I've got to find out what this man saw.
Right. I think part of the reason why you didn't necessarily see the tubes and the underground thing was fanciful, if you will, is because watching the
fantastical,
listening to the director, they had a hard time finding a place to shoot what he wanted to do.
Yes, and I read quite a bit about this after we watched it. A lot of people love this movie, and they talk about the very small budget. Mm-hmm. So it was, and it kind of had that feel to it, but it was kind of cool. It had a feeling of a very, not even a low budget. I'm talking micro budget, like they're filming it around their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You know, and just the way the film looked, and it looked like it was totally a home movie job. Right. But it was really well done as far as that goes.
Yeah, definitely.
So I could see then them just trying to, they probably couldn't go down and, you know, film in public and all that. They'd need, you know, permits and all this and that.
Else, yeah.
They'd have to pay all the people standing around extras and, yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens after he goes on his little quest to find the scary stuff?
Well, he finds...
Because the movie goes all kinds of crazy after that.
It does. It really does. And I swear that I caught a couple of H.P. Lovecraft references in there.
Absolutely you did.
So it was interesting. Like I said, he finds, you know, it's the guy, it's the person on a quest finding, you know, their way being led off by the white rabbit or, you know, chasing that stag off into the woods.
Well, he goes down the hole, doesn't he?
He does. He goes through a hole and he comes out someplace else into the underworld.
Yes.
As they call it. And again, I think some of these things were lost in translation, but and so like I said, all these things generally work together to make a good, interesting movie. Like you can tell hopefully you can tell by the way we're talking about it, that we enjoyed it and we're involved in it. And so it's, as the movie progresses,
well, this part of the movie, I made a note. I'm like, wow, this feels like a totally different movie than the whole first part.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of gritty, and I was getting a little scared because after we saw the snuff film and all the stuff he was into, I was like, uh-oh, what kind of movie is this going to be? But then, like, all of a sudden, it's like, you know, Labyrinth or something, or like Pan's Labyrinth, I should say, kind of dark and weird, and he's going down into this dark, like you said, the underworld, and he's seeing these creatures, the Daros, and they're like vampire-like creatures, and they don't really explain what they are, or they don't really go into it. But he's, you know, climbing down mountains, and there's like the mats were crazy in the background because it looked really super fake. Yeah. So I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
He finds these old ruins. He looks like he's outside. There's mountains in the background, but they're like crazy.
Well, I even made the comment when he came across the temple that I was expecting a slee stack.
Yes, it's totally
to walk out the way one particular mat looked and stuff.
Great.
So there were a lot of interesting things in the movie, and I think we would have enjoyed it better if it had been a dubbed version or a version that had a better translation of some of the words. One of the things that he said that I wrote down that I thought was interesting, we're terrified by what we see, not because... Wait, I screwed that up. I'm going to edit that. We're not terrified by what we see, but what we see is influenced by the fact that we're terrified.
Right.
I think I summed that up. That paraphrased it anyhow.
Yes.
But yeah, so I thought that was great because he's looking through his camera lens at times and seeing things that aren't quite the same. It made me think a little bit of a Videodrome a little bit with this warped and skewed reality.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. And of course, so now the main part of the movie, I think, according to the movie poster and the picture on the front of the box, who is the girl?
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about her yet.
I haven't talked about the girl because suddenly I'm reminded of the movie Dead Girl, where he comes across a young naked girl chained to a wall or chained down here in these catacombs that he decides he's going to take with him. There's no explanation. There's not much evidence of what's going on there, just that she's been chained there by her ankle and she's not putting up much fight or much resistance to anything.
Right.
And he just takes her home. He just scoops her up, and they kind of skip over that part in the movie where suddenly he's just...
And that was the thing, because it was a long walk down to the deepest bowels of the earth there.
Yeah.
Long walk down there. He finds her in the lowest, most point, and he's looking at her. He sees she's got these big shackles around her ankles and stuff. And then all of a sudden they're in his apartment.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that was kind of...
I need a little something about how he gets a young, naked Japanese girl up through the city and into his room without raising any eyebrows.
But of course, nothing is what it seems. So I kind of just dismissed it as that. I'm like, okay, I think his mind has gone a little bit. So whatever's gone on here, it's maybe he probably didn't walk down to the bowels of the earth. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
Right.
But that's what kept me hanging on, and, I was with them, I was following, I wanted to find out.
And it made me stop and think about something that I've thought about before, which is like, how far would you go when he starts that journey down into the bowels? Right. How far do you go to pursue what you want? Well, if you're obsessed, you go to any length to do it. But
that part of the movie was kind of funny for me because he wasn't going with much fervor. He was just sort of kind of strolling along and looking around. He was scared at first when he was still in the part that looked like it was still man-made. Mm-hmm. There's an urban legend, I guess, in Japan about a city that's underneath Tokyo. And so he's under there and he's walking and he's seeing, it reminded me of the Seattle Underground, actually, if you've ever been under there, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
But you can see old walls and windows and things. And he was still very jumpy and afraid. And he's seeing other creatures and things moving around. And of course he meets a ghost down there and has a discussion, which I found very interesting. They talked about the hollow earth theory.
Yeah.
And so I was with him, I was following him. But he kind of gets the fear, he kind of sheds the whole fear thing, and then it just seems like he's just kind of going. And he's going deeper and deeper, and he's looking around the ruins, and by the time he finds the girl, he doesn't look that frightened. He just kind of, he looks more curious.
Right.
So it was kind of, I was like, where's this movie going? He went down there looking for this terror. So that was the whole thing. They set it up so good, that those first couple scenes, what his motivations are, him looking for genuine terror and wanting to see it and wanting to experience it himself. So this whole entire movie, I was waiting. I'm like, okay, by the end of this thing, that final scene, I can't wait to see
what he sees,
what he's going to see or what's going to happen that's going to finally give him his satisfaction. And that's where the disappointment really set in for me. But
okay, I wasn't that disappointed by that because I'm not going to say I saw what he saw, but I understood what he saw, and so
it's hard to discuss it without giving things away.
Yeah, it is.
But and we didn't finish talking about the girl either. God, we're annoying. The girl, once he gets her up to his apartment, she has fangs. Mm-hmm. And she can't hold down any kind of food or water or anything. So, of course, we're going, oh, my God, what? He found a vampire down there?
Right.
So, of course, she does indeed live off of blood.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, okay, vampire girl. So that took a funky turn.
Yeah, it made me think about Fringe when they came across this guy, this young child that had been there for 70 years sustained on nothing.
Yes, he looked like a boy still, but he was very old.
Yeah, so anyhow, that's off the topic. So,
but it's Fringe. Fringe is never off topic.
Okay.
You apply Fringe to everything.
Anyhow.
Actually, no, that's Seinfeld. Sorry.
Sure.
So anyway, as things unfold and as things are revealed, and as you almost get the feeling that he got back on his meds, because he has these kind of lucid moments where he's reflecting on what's happening in his life, and he reveals what's really going on. Because, of course, nothing is as it seems. It's too fantastical. It's all in his mind, but that's not hard to figure out. We certainly won't give away what's really going on. But that was the terror and the horror, but he was just talking about it like, oh, this is going on, that's going on, and it's like this horrible, terrible stuff, but he's just pressing on through life, like he acknowledges it and just moves forward. So, that final scene when you finally see the look of terror on his face, like, I don't get it. Because he'd already faced everything. He talked about everything that he'd done and everything that was going on. And he talks about all of this terrible stuff. But then, I don't know. Okay. That final scene was just really a letdown. I didn't like it one bit.
Okay, well.
It was horrible.
We should probably move on at this point. We're hitting the 30-minute mark. So what would you give this as a rating?
What do you think this is? 30 Minutes to Kill?
It could be.
It's always very hard for me to rate movies like this.
Mm-hmm.
I think for fans of this genre, I think it still is a must-see. I'd probably put it in the 6 or 7 range.
Okay.
I personally, if I could learn Japanese and understand it really well, I would absolutely watch it again.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If I could experience it in its purest form, the way it was intended, I would jump all over it.
Okay,
because I feel like I missed something.
Yeah, I do think so. And I was going to ask you then to compare it, if you could, against, let's see, what were the other movies that he did? The Ring and The Grudge.
Yeah.
The originals, these. So, compared to that,
this one isn't as good as either.
Okay.
It's a little too fragmented, and it doesn't have a real clear plot because it is more of like a psychological thriller freak-out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a plot that's easy to follow.
Well,
it's just, you just have to kind of go along for the ride and wait and see what happens.
For that reason, I'm going to give it a 6, and I can't really recommend it. Like I said, only if, what you've heard so far was entertaining to you in any way, and you want to experience it for yourself. But, and it's too bad because I liked the director. I liked what he had to say personally, on a personal level.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to be hanging out anytime soon, but, he seemed like a genuine guy. I appreciated what he was doing, the work he was doing.
What you liked about him? And it fits exactly with what you were talking about earlier.
What's that?
When you were talking about the snuff films and stuff.
Uh-huh.
He kept saying and reinforcing over and over that he does not like sadism. He doesn't like it in movies. He won't put it in his own movies.
Well, I thought it was interesting, and then to have him saying that, but then to have this clip in there.
I found that interesting also.
Yeah. But yeah, and so, like I said, watching the interview afterwards and stuff, he seemed like an interesting guy. It was interesting hearing him say what he was influenced by, things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and, Evil Dead and, those type of films. So those were Friday the 13th, because they asked him what the first thing, he saw that really scared him was. And up until, he said he read scary stories up until junior high. It wasn't until junior high that he actually saw any scary films, because he didn't want the images He didn't like to see scary images. So
yeah, they really bothered him.
Yeah, so interesting. And so also, just going back to the director really quick, it was interesting that he felt that the movies he was doing or making were like him playing a prank on somebody. And again, maybe this got lost in translation somewhere. Right. He kept using that because he wanted to surprise people or, you know, to shock them or whatever. And he thought of himself as a prankster or a joker.
Yeah, I think that totally came across because he didn't smile a lot in the interview, but he kind of lit up and smiled a little bit when he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Because they said, well, how do you feel when you're doing these really scary scenes or these kind of gruesome, you know, the scenes that would be the disturbing parts of the film? And he could only think of, you know, is this going to scare people? Like, he just wanted to scare people. And when they were done, he said they would all, like, laugh and clap and be like, yay, that's totally going to get people. Because that was the whole point. He didn't want people to feel that, like he was saying, he didn't like sadistic stuff. He didn't like people being, you know, hurt or killed or, like, needless violence and without a story or anything to it. He just doesn't go for that.
Right. And those, I think, are the movies that we enjoy the most, or at least, yeah.
Which ones?
The ones that have a story to it, that have something else. Yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you've listened to our podcast for any length of time, you know we're all about the story. But anyhow, so
I'm not really a blood and gut fan. I was when I was younger.
Okay.
It has to have a purpose.
Right.
Blood and guts, why? Just to go, oh my God, blood and guts? No.
Been
why?
there, seen that already. What's the motivation behind what's going on?
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's move on and let's do our garbage in, garbage out.
Okay.
All right.
Every now and then I get a little tired to listen to the sound of my turn around. Bite eyes. Every now and then I fall apart. And I need you more than ever. Wow.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's not a movie, it's a survival guide.
So we did a little bit of checking, and I just want to clear up that he did not actually do the... Which one didn't he do? The director?
He didn't do the Japanese version of The Ring.
Oh, okay. That was my mistake when I said that earlier.
You are wrong.
Yeah, it's not the first time.
And actually, I wasn't sure if he did both the Japanese and American versions of The Grudge, but he did, in fact.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
Correct?
That's what it's according to Wikipedia, as much as you can trust that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Internet Movie Database is the place to go.
He's near our age. That's part of the problem. I mean, part of the
problem.
I meant his problem. But no, I meant... never mind. Why he has similar taste than we do, maybe. I don't know. Whatever.
Yes.
I should just maybe move on. Tell me about Ink Master.
Ink Master?
Yeah, we watched the entire series of Ink Master, I think, in a day, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. What'd you think about that?
I hate reality TV shows, but if there's a good competition of some sort going on, if it's a competitive one, like Face Off, that we watched, it's a special effects makeup. I love that one. This one grabbed my interest. It had some good competition going, and I really enjoyed watching it. I was wondering who these people were who agreed to go on there and have these people tattoo things on their bodies.
Right.
Competition. Because, there was some really not good stuff on there. And I thought, those poor people. They could say, yeah, I was on TV for 5 seconds and let one of these competitors put this on my arm, leg, back, whatever, and it's horrible. I guess it's a story to tell people.
Yeah, you got a story to go with that tattoo for sure.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it was very intriguing. I just couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah, and...
Of course, I DVR'd it so we could zip through the commercials.
Oh, yeah, that's the only way to go.
If I had to watch all the commercials, I would not have sat through it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the reality TV, though I'll tune into this and that, along the way and watch 5 minutes of it or whatever. But in this case, anything that deals with creativity,
yes.
Like you said, Face Off and Ink Master, when somebody's making art, doing art, artist is involved, that I find fascinating more than, Big Brother or
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So whatever. Anyhow.
I don't like drama.
Not that.
And
drama.
these shows, these good competitive ones, when they start showing the people fighting and stuff and bickering, like back at the house or whatever, that's where I'm like, oh no, they better stop doing that because I'm gonna change the channel. I'm gonna be out of here if they show that.
Yeah.
A little bit of that, okay, fine. You like to see what the dynamics are between the different people and all that. I almost said characters. They're not
they become characters,
yeah, TV makes some characters, but, you know, it's kind of interesting. They are real people. They're trying to, you know, the thing about these that I like, and it's the same reason why I like Hell's Kitchen, it's like these people, they leave their town, their family, their everything, and they're following a passion, and they find themselves in a house with like-minded people that share the same passion, and it's interesting to see people from all over the country being put together and the pressure. I would absolutely freak out. I don't think I could leave my family for a month or for however long and be around a bunch of people I don't know and be competing, and the stress put on them and the time limits, and the judges are always harsh and hollering at them, and it's interesting. I like to see who can make it.
Okay.
And pull off, you know, and let their creativity come through. And
still, yeah.
Yeah, it's just because I know I couldn't do it, and I just so admire those people.
Okay.
I really do.
Cool. Well, a couple of movies to talk about really quick. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I need to stop talking. What did we watch this weekend?
Is your dyslexia coming out of your mouth?
Yes, it's just spewing out. I'm going to have some coffee. You take this next segment. What movies did we watch?
Well, we watched A Diary of a Wimpy Kid because last week we thought, well, I taped it thinking it was the first one, but it was the second one, so we watched them backwards, but it doesn't matter. You don't have to see one before the other. Of course, he was a lot littler in this one, though.
He was a bit of a jerk.
He was a little bastard.
He really was. And so from that aspect, it was kind of funny watching them in the reverse order because he wasn't that bad in the second movie.
Yeah.
But in that first movie, and, you know, I'm all about friends and, you know, friendship and so on, and he treated his little buddy Rowley just terrible.
Yeah, he did.
That was awful. But anyhow, I guess our point here is this was a kid's movie that was absolutely entertaining for, dare I call us adults? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even use that term on us, but
yeah.
A lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun with that movie.
Yeah, hilarious.
Yeah. What else did we watch?
We watched Adaptation.
What did you think about that?
How weird was that movie?
That was pretty freaking weird. A lot of people, you know, think Nicolas Cage can't act and stuff. I thought he did. I'm a fan of his.
Who says he can't act?
Well, you maybe need to take that up with Gray.
Oh, no.
Not to call anybody out, but.
Well, Gray, come on. Okay, well, we can't let his more current movies skew our opinions. Because, Ghost Rider, oh, man. That first one, I'm sorry, it was stinky.
Guilty
and then
pleasure.
No, it's not even. It's not
for
a
me. I'm saying for me, it's a guilty pleasure.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay. So the reviews are coming in for the second one, and I haven't heard anyone say yet, "Wow, that was really good."
How could they screw it up a second time? I have to go see it and find out.
Apparently. But yeah, that's not a good. I don't know.
Anyhow, back to Adaptation.
In there. Anyway, I think he's a great actor. He's very flexible. I've seen him in all kinds of roles now. I think he's great.
Okay.
He's not my favorite. Meryl Streep is, and she's in it.
Okay.
She's wonderful in everything. How crazy was she? Everybody was nuts in this movie.
Quite crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy backstory to the movie itself. The movie is somewhat, I don't want to say realistic, but somewhat based on real events.
Yeah, that was kind of wacky.
Seeing them during the shooting in the movie, there's a couple of scenes that take place during the filming of Being John Malkovich.
Yes, so I got to see two of my favorite people right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was weird because it was like, wow, did they film this during this, or how did they go back and get these shots? With computer generation and, camera tricks, you can do some pretty amazing things. But no, it seems like those were actually shot because the author, the screenwriter, and Spike Jonze worked together knowing that they were going to do adaptation.
Right.
Or knowing what their pitch was going to be later on. Adaptation, as it stood, was such a crazy idea to pitch to the studios. They knew they wouldn't get it made unless they just did it secretly and just kind of sprung it on the
Right.
folks at the studio. And I'm glad they did, because it was entertaining and wacky and
Like, I can't even, it would take us an hour just to talk about that movie.
yeah.
Like, I can't even say what it was about, really.
It was about the Orca Thief.
Yes, okay. Good enough.
If you watch the movie, you'll
And
get that. But
what I enjoyed about it, because I love physical anthropology so much, and I love the evolution theory, adaptation, it was about a guy trying to adapt this book for a screenplay adaptation, but it had so many references to evolution and organisms adapting to their environment. Like, it was strewn throughout the whole thing. There were so many crazy crossovers of ideas and concepts. So it's definitely not for everybody.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow, it was a wild and wacky movie. And at the last half hour, I was just like, what? Like, I totally didn't see any. It was a surprise.
Yeah.
Because everything just goes absolutely haywire, and the characters start acting. I mean, they're very neurotic through the whole thing, and then they just all go nuts at the end.
Well, I didn't dig the first, I'm going to say 10 or 15 minutes of it. I was, I'm not sure I would have hung in there to
Right.
watch the whole thing just because he was so neurotic. But then suddenly, the 25-minute mark, the 30-minute mark or whatever, I realized that, like, I'm kind of sucked into this whole thing now. I'm kind of...
Well, and now Nicolas Cage, he plays twins,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of older, and he's fat. He wore a fat suit, I guess, for the
Yep.
movie, and he lost the hair on the top. His hair's a little too long on the sides, a little curly and reddish colored. Like, he looked so dorky and so different. But him playing these two brothers that have such totally different personalities, I think his acting ability really showed there.
Yeah.
Because he was neurotic and quiet and always had a look of concern and worry on his face, and was socially, he was not good socially. And his brother was like, hey dude, and this and that and whatever, and hey bro, don't worry about it, life's great, and like his total opposite. So I bet he had so much fun making this movie.
Yeah, I think so. So it was worth a watch, I think.
Yes, it was pretty wacky, but
Well,
it was good.
Tomashiki, I think we need to wrap this up.
Okay. What else did we watch? Nothing?
That was it. That was all I had down to cover.
Okay.
I couldn't even spit it out of my mouth, so I'm glad you read it.
What?
Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And,
Oh, hey, you said it okay now?
yeah, exactly. But then I was about to choke on adaptation, so. Anyhow. Let's get on with the rest of our Sunday evening. Shall we wrap this up?
Sure.
Okay. As always, you can contact us directly by emailing us at madsaxon@yahoo.com.
Wow.
Or just look us up on Facebook, Vicis Interimo, or just friend me S. Michael Jones.
Nobody's going to want to find us after this.
Nah, I don't think so. For those of you that did come back again, thanks for listening. We need to come up with a name for our listeners.
A name?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You know, for the people that actually listen to the podcast on a regular basis.
Oh no, like what?
I don't know. Something good, like I was going to say, like the Matadors.
Oh, I thought you meant like Vicis Interimites.
Yeah,
something.
that didn't make sense or whatever, but the Matadors?
The Matadors?
If it's time to kill, Matador is killer.
Okay.
Matadors. Yeah, maybe
That's really dorky.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we have a lot of new listeners.
We do, that's right.
In a lot of different countries.
We need to get a
Exciting.
map. Yeah, we need to get a map and just like put push pins in so we can see if we get people in every country.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah.
So welcome to all the new listeners.
We forgot to talk about Slug.
Slug!
We know what movie we're gonna do now.
Yes.
I can't pronounce it.
What? What did you guys do? Are there subtitles in my future again?
No. It's the Vincent Price movie. The Abominable Dr. Phibes? Is that it?
Oh, okay. Why was that hard to pronounce?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'd read it.
Abominable? Was that scaring you, that big word there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You shouldn't be reading.
Maybe not. I should go sit down and watch
Your
TV.
brain scrambles everything up.
Yeah.
But yes, Slug will be joining us soon. When did you guys
Soon.
decide?
No, we haven't decided when. I just put it on Netflix and bumped it up.
In the next 2 weeks?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. We really need to cut this off.
Cut it off.
Ew.